Hi guys, I'm Sean. This is Alyssa. Gus is in our hearts. And this is Internet Rabbit Hole Daily. And today, folks, you are in for a shock because we are checking out the 8 most shocking Indian movie disasters of 2022. Now, now usually you think people would wait for the entire year to finish before they would pick the 8 most, because this was published on June 13th.
Oh my gosh!
So they only waited for half the year and then said, okay, well these are the biggest. That's what it should say. It should say the 8 most shocking Indian movie disasters of 2022 so far. That's right.
Anyways, let's just get right into it.
I'm curious if we've seen any of them. Hey,
I'm interested.
Let's get into it.
Oh, did you say the channel?
Oh, no, I did not.
So this is from
Tried&Refused Productions. So thank you so much, folks, for putting this together. I'm sure we'll enjoy it.
Do we want to read the description at all?
Yeah, sure. 2022 has boasted of so many releases, but a very polarizing market with a few exponential highs, but many disasters. Uh-oh.
Financial disasters.
Yeah, I think they mean...
Maybe from COVID.
Yeah, or just films that they anticipated would do really well and people didn't like it so much. So here's taking a look at some of the biggest franchise disasters from Bollywood and other industries as well. Okay.
Did you say franchise? Biggest financial disasters.
Biggest financial disasters, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
I was reading a few articles written by trade analysts who were saying that the best assessment of 2022 and the performances of films can be that there is no middle ground anymore left in the market. Either movies are declared to be hits or they are absolute disasters. Makers cannot really back a project with the belief that it'll just do the job. It has to be a home run or it will fail to get any form of distribution on a national scale. Through this video, I wanted to focus on some of the biggest and most shocking failures from 2022 and try to understand why these movies may have failed. You can also chime in on what your take is, why such financially backed projects failed.
Oh, we saw the songs from this one. That one.
I also want to state that the reason why movies like Valimai, Beast, Sarkaru Vari Pata,
we never saw that one, but we checked out a lot of stuff around it.
While I did not enjoy these movies, they still amassed a huge number in the box office due to the fan base of the stars in their respective states. You're looking at a revenue generation of over 100 crores for most of these films, and in no way, shape or form can they be termed as disasters. Underperforming with respect to the star power of the main lead, yes, but it is still way better off than other films that have suffered huge losses. Getting right into the video and trying to understand why these movies may have failed in 2022.
We saw the trailer for that.
Tried&Refused Productions, with 8 most shocking Indian movie
disasters in his mind, but not necessarily financial disasters.
But they still did okay at the box office.
Yeah, that's what he's saying, but maybe not as good as they should have done for the star power that they did have.
In the description, that says financial disasters. So if it still grossed like a ton because of the people are going to see it because of the stars,
but
and
maybe
it
didn't gross as much as it could have. I don't know.
Lakshraj Anand directed film Attack starring John
Okay, so we saw the trailer for this one.
The expectation being a no-nonsense, high-octane action film with a solid and tight script. The movie boasted of everything: an inventive concept of an AI-assisted soldier, a threat to the country, engaging and exciting music.
Yeah, and then they had that cool parliament scene.
So much on a national scale.
Is it going to spoil the movies?
Attack is not a mass action film, but a stylized narrative catered to the storyline rather than the star. 1, that already restricts the takers from the film, and 2, one of the criticisms that I had for the film is that it lacked the emotional quotient required for the masses to root for their main hero. The editing and screenplay seemed rushed, almost wanting to get to the point of conflict rather than make us feel for the loss of the main hero. More categorically, the film was distributed by Penn and released a week after RRR. This
that's gotta be tough.
Becoming absolutely minuscule in the southern states of India for this movie compared to the big release, not letting even the word of mouth play its part for the movie to have a life of its own. Made in a budget of close to 50 to 60 crores, the movie
gotta wait at least a month after RRR.
Box office. It's praiseworthy that Attack is being largely celebrated on an OTT platform, but I hope it doesn't discourage creators to greenlit more no-nonsense action narratives. Jayesh Bhai Jordar. Ranveer Singh is a bona fide star in his own right, and when a big-scale film like 83, which had so many
83, we heard about that. That was the
failed, one wondered whether he will have the box office pull that most people equate to stars in this country. I remember years ago Irfan Khan had said on a roundtable discussion on how the same movies that were working at that time won't be working 3 or 4 years later. And when Jayesh Bhai Jordar came out, I had the same thoughts running in my mind. Was this film, taking into account the current market, just better suited for an OTT OTT platform? Is it 5 years too late? And aren't most audiences just over the social commentary heartland of India's stories? Despite some of the hilarious moments and effective messaging in the film, the audience would have much rather watched this film in the comfort of their homes rather than a day out for the cinema.
What
the
was
film
he
did terribly
saying?
financially, made on a
Was he calling it OTT?
Yeah.
Like old
Over
time?
no. In India they call video on demand, I believe, OTT. I'm trying to remember over the. I can't. Trying to remember what it means, but basically VOD, which is what we call it, or pay per view.
What's an example? Oh, okay. So it wasn't in theaters?
When they I believe that instead of saying streaming, they'll say OTT. It's on an OTT service. Yeah.
Budget of 60 to 70 crores, amassing just about 22 crores at the box office. This makes me worried about the YRF productions like Shamshera, because there is literally no hyper promotion happening for that film, and it's just close to a month away from release. Jersey.
Things changed. There was a lot of hype for
has really
that.
reached a breaking point with the audience. I think the awareness of the original films during the pandemic, venturing into understanding content from different states, has only educated most people of the source material. Shahid Kapoor gave his career's biggest hit in the form of Kabir Singh in 2019. And
Jersey, that was the remake,
expectations of
right?
his next venture
No,
rose, only to have
that Arjun Reddy was the original. That Kabir Singh was then the remake of. Jersey is another one that people have been talking about.
No, I was just saying that Jersey is a remake. They remade it. This is the remake.
a
Right?
split reaction as he ventured into another remake of an iconic and celebrated Telugu film, Jersey. I genuinely enjoyed the sincerity of Shahid, Brunal and Pankaj Kapoor showcased in the film. The conviction cannot be discounted, but when the memory of a performance becomes so entrenched in one's mind, especially like that of Nani's, can you really motivate yourself to see another rendition while the screenplay follows exactly the same beats? I think the
Exactly
Hindi
the
remake
same.
came at a point where most people already knew the source material, were tired of the underdog cricket narrative, and wanted something fresh, made on a debatable budget now, because initially it was close to 80 to 100 crores and now has been revised to 35 to 40 crores. You can figure out the legitimacy of the same, but the movie amassed a mere 27 crores at the box office. This makes me think, will people genuinely be excited to tune in for Vikram Vedha when it comes out? You tell
Vikram
me in the
Vedha.
comments below.
Yeah, because it's
Anek,
similar kind of thing.
one of the most dependable actors in the
remake.
Hindi film industry.
But it's hard to know if that one they are going to do it exactly frame by frame. Like, I guess Jersey, they decided to do it the exact same way.
Because I would say that usually here in the West, when we do make a remake, there's usually a certain amount of reimagining or changing it or evolving
Because
it.
it's
or
not in a different language. It's because it's in English. So you have to. Like, you can't just
yeah,
do
you can't
the
just release the same thing after.
kind of exact same.
But I would say
English.
too that oftentimes, even if a Western filmmaker is say doing a redo of say a French film that came out the year before or something like that, they're going to do it differently. They're not going to do that kind of shot by shot remake that we've seen done in some of these other films. Very interesting. I like this guy's commentary because he's really sharing his own opinion here.
Pre-pandemic era was Ayushmann Khurrana, a man who was termed as Mr. ROI because with movies with shoestring budgets, the man would consistently guarantee huge financial revenues. With Chandigarh Kare Aashiki doing average business
what
at the
was
box
that one
office,
called?
one
Saw the
wondered
trailer.
whether Ayushmann's type of content has now shifted its base to an OTT platform. A slice of life or even hard-hitting social commentaries more suited for the online space directly. I think one can debate about the same, but with regards to the case of Anek, I think it's a classic case of a director getting lost in his own source of preaching versus lending to the storyline. Anek may have been attempted to focus on something never done before in Hindi cinema, but that should not be enough to laud a project that was disjointed,
We didn't hear that
misinformed, and lectured
about
the
that one,
audience
hey?
more than focusing on its characters' motivations. The film, with a budget of close to 50 crores, is one of the most underperforming films starring Ayushmann Khurrana, amassing close to only 11 crores in revenue. Something that will make creators like Anubhav Sinha also go back to the drawing board for his next venture. Acharya, a duo of Ram Charan and Chiranjeevi together on the big
Oh, is
screen
that-
in a mass commercial
oh,
film
that-
would make
that's
you
Ram.
assume that it's going
What's
to be
his-
ringing hundreds of crores in the box office.
His real name starts with
especially
a
after
R.
the
Charya, I
success
saw
of
other
RRR,
folks reacting to
but that
this.
was not the case.
Well, I didn't
with this
watch it, but
Telugu
I
film at
saw the
all.
thumb.
The father-son duo could not salvage the outdated script and treatment that the audience after its initial weekend run completely rejected. Set in a fictional temple town that is getting consumed by vices, only the duo can help rescue the town being taken over by goons whose only motivation is greed at the cost of the welfare of the people. The good versus evil narrative commences, the godlike portrayal of Chiranjeevi goes in full swing, and what we are left with was a screenplay with no surprises, clunky over-the-top action, leaving a stale and underwhelming response from the audience. Made on a budget of close to 150 crores, the movie amassed 75 crores in the box office, making it one of the biggest duds for Telugu cinema in 2022. Dhakad. One of the most underwhelming performances by a movie was Dhakad starring Kangana Ranaut. A movie made on a budget of close to 100 crores amassed
Pretty sure we saw the
less
trailer
than
for this
4
one.
crores at the box office, making it one of the biggest disasters of 2022.
How? It only
if
got
not
4
crores at the box on a
Four?
budget of close to 100 crores amassed, get this, less than 4 crores at the box office,
Less than
making it one of the
4?
biggest disasters
And it
of
cost like
2022,
100
if not
crores?
the last few years. The movie had a lot of things
not
going
good.
against it. It was an age certificate movie, it was a stylized action film with a female lead, it had a behemoth task of competing with Bhool Bhulaiya 2 on the same weekend.
Oh, I remember
To top
that.
it all, while
That
technically brilliant, the movie and its execution was lackluster at best. Audience members were not emotionally connected to the characters, one could not appreciate just the beautiful frames of the film. The antagonist and climax was extremely weak, there were odd creative choices with performances, and what we were left with by the end of the day was a lost opportunity. With high expectations, the film sunk so fast and deep, one could not even comprehend what exactly happened, sending shockwaves to figure out what should be the next move for an actor like Kangana Ranaut. Radhe Shyam.
Oh,
one
that's
of the
who is
most
in it.
expensive projects from Telugu cinema,
Kangana
mounted on a
Ranaut.
humongous scale, was the
Oh.
romantic film Radhe Shyam starring Prabhas and Pooja Hegde. Banking on the star power of Prabhas' pose,
I love the
Bahubali,
songs
this was
from
one
this.
of the few projects
Are you
after
sure it
Saho
was
that
called
people were really
Radhe
looking forward to.
Shyam?
But a romantic film across Europe set on a budget of 350 crores? Did the creators really have that much faith in the star power of Prabhas to
A beautiful,
attract
soft,
footfalls of
focused
such
look
high
there.
numbers? The film had many flaws, from tasteless comedy,
Uh-oh.
absurd, quirky character traits, over-the-top fantastical elements that didn't even fit the theme of the film.
Sounds good.
Bharti
Sounds like
Shyam
fun.
was
Wasn't.
Prabhas's mother, and for us to assume that the man just swam through a tsunami. The film turned out to be all over the place, and the 350 crores could only amass around 170 crores despite its pan-Indian
dear.
marketing, making it out to be one of the biggest disasters from Telugu cinema. Samrat Prithviraj. One of the biggest
we saw the
disasters
trailer
of
for this,
2022 has to be Samrat Prithviraj. Made
Uh-oh.
on a budget of close to 300 crores, the movie is going to clock in its box office run in close to 70 crores or so, making it one of the biggest loss-making ventures from Hindi cinema. The movie just did not click with the masses, despite the heavy support that it was getting by
Big
being announced
stars.
as tax-free and politicians dropping in their reviews before the film even came out. There are many aspects that can be equated to the film's failure. Its underwhelming screenplay, the lack of excitement one felt at the face-off between the hero and the antagonist, the odd romantic pairing of the leads, and finally the lack of conviction in Akshay as a king. The same statement that Akshay was proud of, that he shoots most of his films in less than 50 days, came right back to bite him, as people just demanded for more dedication towards the craft rather than
That's how he does an insane amount of films
Yeah,
all the time.
yeah.
He shoots them in less than 50 days.
And it sounds like what people
That's
are
like
saying
less than
is
2 months.
is with this one. It's like, well, we would have liked you to have
Yeah.
spent more than 50 days and to
More
really live into the
investment.
role and invest further.
Yeah. That's so he can do like a movie every 2 months basically because he's got so many all the time. So many
That's right.
trailers coming
Yeah,
out.
yeah,
the
yeah.
Same year with him.
Interesting.
treating it like any other project, especially if it's a historical epic. This has led to a reshuffle of Akshay's upcoming projects and also led to the discussion of actors' fees and how it weighs down on the quality of the project.
Huh.
There were huge expectations from this film within the industry, and the result has led to, yes, I have some insider scoop, a lot of changes both in terms of what movies will go on an OTT platform versus theaters and how much an
OTT
actor has
versus
to
theaters.
cut down on his acting fees. And that was a video, guys.
Acting
Write down in the
fees?
comments
Yeah.
below what
In other words,
you
you
think are the
won't get
reasons
Like
paid
he's
as
gonna
much
take a
next
cut?
time.
ventures. Please don't
They're
forget
like
to
kind
follow
of
me
they're
on Instagram.
blaming
The
him
handle is
for
right in front
ruining
of
their
you. Follow
movie.
Jammy Pants
I don't know
4.
about that,
Also,
but-
please support
Jammy
us by
Pants
smashing the like
4.
button
Ah.
and subscribing to our channel for weekly content ahead.
Tried and Refused
So
Productions. Well, that was informative because now we know what not.
Yeah, now we know what to avoid.
Well, no one's asking. I don't think no one.
People haven't really been asking so much
But
for
it's
those
interesting
films.
seeing the trailers for a lot of those and knowing how much kind of hype, or like how the trailers were quite popular, and then the movies
just kind of didn't pan out. And then he's given us some insight into maybe why these films, sort of didn't pan out or weren't as successful as they could have been. I'm curious to know if anyone, because you guys probably have seen some of these films. We hope so. And maybe you've got some strong feelings. Are you agreeing with this content creator when it comes to these films, or do you have some other thoughts that maybe you'd like to share down in the comments? Because maybe just because a film doesn't perform well at the box office doesn't mean that it's not a good film. So, of course, we're open to those diamonds in the rough.
Well, there's interesting scenarios that happen too. Like maybe certain films too kind of pop back up, become popular after the fact. Because didn't Van Gogh, didn't he not even sell any paintings? Wow, he was alive?
I don't know about not selling any, but there certainly are historical figures that become well known after their passing, and it's always kind of a shame, right?
Like they become insanely famous after. Like he was never, if anything, like he was just starving, wasn't he? Wasn't he?
As far as I know,
not really.
Yeah. Well,
he's the one that like cut off his
and
own
sometimes
ear.
it's just bad timing, right? So for example, they were released at the same time as R, and even if you've got like an amazing film, it's going to be hard to compete in that marketplace.
Lost in the rough. And then also the timing, the remakes, doing a lot of these remakes too, it's like how spaced out apart are those? Because in the West, usually the remake comes years and years and years after.
At least a good decade after.
So, and it'll be more of like a modern spin, because there'll be something that maybe came out in the 80s.
Yeah, and then they'll do sort of the 2000s version of it.
Yeah, it'll be there's an old school version and there's like a modernized version. So it's different in that way as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's tough with not being a pan-India film, and then it's like trying to cater to like the other audience, but then a lot of people can just watch it with subtitles, or they maybe have seen it, or they know they also
so he
know
was
the
sort
language.
of talking about the remake situation a little bit. He was also talking about the difference between putting a movie in the theaters versus OTT, was saying that perhaps for some it would make a lot more sense to just do it directly to the OTT. Other films demand the big screen in the theater sort of thing, but maybe others it's more strategic to have it show up on the small screen first. So there you go.
Yeah, the theaters these days aren't as popular in general as they used to be. Like it's kind of, especially with COVID, like they totally just closed the theaters altogether. And it's like I think didn't a lot of movies make quite a bit due to the fact that people were kind of trapped inside their houses, having nothing else to really do.
Yeah, there was a few that did pretty well on streaming as a result. So, wow. Well, that was good. We had some things unpacked there with our friend from Tried&Refused Production. We enjoyed that commentary a whole lot, but we're curious to hear what you guys think. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let us know down there. And if you'd like us to check out even more content in this vein, well, then we're going to ask you to
click the subscribe button, click the bell, choose all from the drop down so you get updated when we upload. Click the thumbs up if you like this. Comment down below, and
we love you a whole lot. This is
Love you
Internet Rebel
guys.
Daily RH signing off.
Bye.
Bye, guys.